Hey everybody. For a while now, I've been wanting to share reflections from the second semester of being a PhD student and figuring out what this journey looks like as it unfolds. And just like I did a video at the beginning of the school year, I want to do a follow up video and just kind of share some takeaways that um, I have thus far. I didn't take notes, so hopefully what I say and share is coherent, and I pray that it encourages um, whoever, especially if you are considering going to grad school. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm getting my PhD in curriculum instruction and teacher education. I did not think about applying to a PhD program until summer 2020. So, the pandemic really uh, changed my course that I intended. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew that it was time to do something new that would push me forward toward whatever I'm supposed to do, So I've been, just figuring out what it means to be a student again, figuring out what it means to express authenticity and vulnerability and so forth in spaces of academia. And some of the things that I'm learning is that one, it takes time to build your support system. I am so grateful that over the course of the past few years, I was able to figure out, what community looks like for me as a young adult. I really struggled with social anxiety and loneliness in the years following my college graduation. And over time, I don't know, I just learned to be myself. I learned to be the invitation. And it hasn't been a perfect course. There's been ups and downs, but I was at a place where I felt like I have people who love me and want to be with me, and I know it, like I believe it. So deciding to kind of uproot my life and move to Lansing and start a PhD program, it was scary because I'm like, who's going to be my friend? Who's going to accept me for the quirky and inquisitive person that I am? And will I carry over certain bad habits that have taken me a while to shake off, such as not being so fearful, or such as being too fearful, I should say, of what people think. And even though I've gotten more mature in how I approach that fear, it's still something that follows me, just kind of worrying about, do people like me? Are they going to approve of me? And day by day, I'm experiencing more freedom from that, but it's real. It's something that I still struggle with. So I was nervous, and I'm happy to say that I've met some really cool people, including both students, faculty, people outside of my program, people outside of school that I can see myself deepening relationships with. But it can be discouraging sometimes just to know that you can't rush friendship. You can't rush the process of building trust. And that is hella tough for me. Taking it back to my Cali days, like it's hella tough to just understand that sometimes I'm gonna feel a little bit lonely because the people who I'm around most often physically, they don't know as much about me as the people who are back home in Detroit, or the people who I'm friends with who live in different parts of the country. So I definitely remember like these past few weeks just kind of feeling sad and feeling like, God, how long is it going to take for me to feel like I'm known and like I'm not fragmenting myself due to fear, or like I'm not comparing myself, and it's a journey, and I'm just trying to learn how to be gentle with myself through this process. But with that being said, I went to my first Mardi Gras celebration. One of my friends and his girlfriend, they're from New Orleans, and they put on like this really dope Mardi Gras party. I also have the most amazing mentor who just looks out for me, and she and her family, they treat me like family, and I don't know what I would do here in my program without them. So you know who you are. Shout out to you. And I've had some really great faculty that I've encountered. I've been able to go on some great concerts, go to some great concerts with friends like Claudia. And it's just been, I've had some good memories. And I'll never forget, like on my birthday, my cohort, they sent me a whole case of Jenny's ice cream. And it's my second time getting an ice cream surprise like that, because one of my other friends did that for me last year, and it just made my day. Or the way that even though my community is not yet as deep as I hope for it to be, just feeling so supported when my granddaddy passed away, in ways that people just showed their love and their presence. It's not easy to be present with someone when they're grieving and when you don't know how to fix their pain, but you have to share that pain to some degree with them. So I just really feel grateful for that. Another lesson that I'm learning since starting this program is that your routine is going to change in different seasons. So my first semester of my PhD program, for the most part, I was getting all of my homework and readings done during the week. So my weekends was free. And I was like, just using my weekends as time to maybe travel, to rest, or whatever else, work on my business. But this semester, along with grieving and just having some like fatigue issues, I was just like, it's going to take me longer to finish my homework. It's going to get done some way, somehow, but it's going to take me longer. So I say that to say that just as we are dynamic individuals, it's going to take time for us to figure out what our rhythm looks like from season to season, and let us not be too rigid with that process. So yeah, I'm in the middle of that still, but it's something that I'm definitely coming to understand. Thirdly, reading is fundamental. Like, at the risk of sounding academic, when I say reading, I mean literally reading. But I also mean just paying attention, to what's around you and being curious about what's around you. One of the best things about being in the PhD program is that I have access to so many articles, so many books. If my library doesn't have a book, I can request it from another library. I could just read as much as I want, and it really feeds the nerd inside of me. But I've also been inspired to read again for pleasure, which is something that I never put down. Like, I read a lot, but it's something that I've still have maintained as a habit during this program, just reading a lot of books outside of my schoolwork. And it's helped me to take my mind off of me, not in a bad way, but I'm just saying sometimes I do think that we can get pretty consumed with ourselves. So I'm just really grateful for the abundance of knowledge that's available, and hopefully I can take what's fruitful and enact it as wisdom and share what I learned to the communities that I'm rooted in, which is what I hope to do with this program. I'm also realizing that in grad school and in life in general, it is a strength to learn how to talk about yourself, not in a way that's boastful, but just thinking about, how do you talk about what you love? How do you talk about what you're learning? How do you talk about what you want to be better at? I'll give y'all a small example that has been on my mind recently. So I've been wanting to be fluent in Spanish for years now. I've taken it in high school. I've taken it in college. But it's been a on and off, type of path. And I was having dinner with one of my cohort mates and friends, and I was telling her, I really hope to just practice my Spanish before I start traveling more to like Latin America, for instance. And she was like, my friend actually got tutored by someone who's from Mexico. Let me put you in contact with her. For the past few weeks, I've been having tutoring sessions with that individual, and it's just been a lot of fun. It's been challenging, but that would not have happened if I did not open my mouth and share more about what I'm hoping to learn and more about what I love. So I just want to encourage you, just, you never know who got the plug. And of course, we don't want to be in relationship with people for what they have, but I do believe that it helps people feel good when they're able to like help you to be more of who you want to be. And that might include sharing resources and connections that they might know of. So that's another lesson that I learned. And this video is getting pretty long, so let me think of one more lesson that grad school has taught me. I am realizing that more and more, it's not something that I forgot, but that I need to be true to my voice. So whenever possible, when I'm doing like reading responses or writing assignments, I try my best to be as creative as possible, because that's what brings me joy, like being creative and coming from a place of like self-reflexivity or imagination. So I'm taking a critical race theory class. It's amazing. And we've read quite a bit by Derek Bell. He is like the originator, one of the originators of critical race theory as a framework for understanding how race permeates every aspect of U.S. society. And in order to kind of illustrate his research and his questions and his understandings, he will use parables of sorts, kind of, and in the context of critical race theory, those are called counter narratives. So his way of speaking back to dominant narratives about people of color, or to illustrate tenets of critical race theory, was to use kind of like stories that have like a sci-fi futuristic element, which I think is really dope. I've always loved sci-fi, so I started writing in that type of style myself, and it's been a lot of fun. So I've just been trying to figure out ways to, be in academia but not of it, and that to me means writing in ways that feel accessible, writing in ways that feel enjoyable, writing in ways that feel like they mean something for the people that I write with, and that I write for lack of better words. So those are just a few things that I've learned since starting graduate school thus far, and I thank you for checking in.